I'm Dennis McCann, David's older brother. And you know, when you stand up here as an older brother, and your younger brother passed away, life is just not fair. But on behalf of my mother and my two sisters, my other brother, my father who just passed away on Wednesday, we thank you all for this tribute to the great artist that Dave was, great person he was, great teacher he was. If you'll bear with me, I'll tell you a couple of stories I think the children would appreciate it. Probably don't know it. Some of you don't know these things about David because he was one of those kind of people that was humble and he never bragged. He was also probably the most courageous person I've ever known. He never complained about that death. I think that was said a couple of times. Never complained about the doctors weren't doing enough, the nurses weren't doing enough. He accepted his own passing with dignity and bravery, and you have to respect that. Most of us can't do that. Our family is very diverse. We live in a lot of places, and they're talented and they do a lot of things. So we probably did like most families. We didn't tell him how great he was when he was on earth. And we're sorry about that now. Anyway, we knew David was great because when he was 9, he sat out on the porch and he looked across the street, went and got his art set to the guy's house across the street. And I think my mother looked at it and said, "You ought to go show them, they'd like it." So he went over and showed them and they liked it and they bought it. And they framed it. Many of you don't know this either, but Dave could have made a living and made much more money in other fields. He was a top electrician, a top plumber, and a top construction guy. He could have made a living in all those areas. Built his own swimming pool, built onto his own house. Didn't have to ask an architect to come out there or an engineer, anybody. He just went to work and put it together. So he was talented in more ways than one. And he had a brief flirtation with an acting career. Had a couple bit parts in Close Encounters. So he could have followed that dream. He was good. He was in 8 scenes. We got the movie at home so we could look at it. Anyway, he was supremely talented. And we will miss him as a person and a brother and a son. And of course, he's got many friends, and I'm glad that for the children. I'd like to read something. I don't think David would mind. We didn't discuss religion that much. I know he was very religious as children. We went to church and those type of things. And our parents pushed us to do that, and we enjoyed every bit of it. I want Angie to know this too. When David and I were little boys, we were very close. And I'll tell you, he loved Mobile so much. We used to get on our bicycle every Saturday morning summer at 7 o'clock when Mother fixed us a little bag lunch. We'd ride down to Pritchard Pool. I know some of the old people know where Pritchard Pool was. Not being older, but you know, if you're my age. We'd start swimming about 8 o'clock when it opened. About 1, the movie show would open. We'd get out, we'd dress, go down the show. She'd give us about 20 cents. That's what popcorn and all, everything cost to get in. We'd watch the show, get back in that pool. 8 o'clock, they'd have to come find us. And we did it every Saturday, every summer. So we had a great time. And I think that's why David fell in love with Mobile, because of all those experiences. This is written by an anonymous author, so I don't know who to give credit to, but I thought it was appropriate. Opening up to the pain of death, our own or that of someone we love, is one of the most mysterious blessings of life. Nothing focuses us more clearly on what matters, helps us drop our defenses more quickly, or gives us more compassion for human suffering. I used to think that the angel of death would be a terrible thing. I realize now that the angel of death would have to be God's most tender and understanding angel to be sent to us at such a significant, frightening juncture. There are many among us now who have seen the angel of death or have had to start thinking about it before our time. Death has become one of our greatest teachers in the transition to a spiritually awakened world. Death shall be the last enemy, said Jesus. What he meant was that we would no longer perceive death as an enemy. We would recognize that death is not death, but a recycling of energy, a remodulation of the cells according to higher assignments in a soul's progression. The spirit does not die, but rather enters new channels of life. The power of God is greater than death. Our relationships are not severed at death, but refocused beyond physical connection. As our vision of life changes, so will the physical world. As we lift our eyes above the illusion of death, we will begin to see the eternity of life. Jesus did not die when he died, and neither do we. Thank you.